I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure, and this is Currents.
A new generation celebrates an ancient tradition. This weekend, reaching out to those most in need around the world.
Well, Mission Sunday is an opportunity for us to focus on the work of the missions.
And what's the trickiest sport? It may be a toss-up.
Oh, I did it!
Good Friday evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Well, this time of year, while kids are getting ready for Halloween, some school kids in Brooklyn are actually taking part in a different kind of ritual. It is a Rosary rally, and it is held at St. James Cathedral.
It was held earlier on this week to help mark October as the month of the Rosary. The presider for the service was Auxiliary Bishop Guy Sansaricq, and our cameras were there.
Today we are here at St. James Cathedral, the Cathedral Church of the Diocese of Brooklyn and Queens. We had a Rosary rally for children. So some 600 children came from the various Catholic schools of the diocese from Queens and Brooklyn, and we prayed the Rosary together. And the purpose of this is to really introduce the children to the importance of the prayer of the Rosary.
I thought this event was really nice, and it got me closer to God, and I learned basically how to pray the Rosary easier and fun.
Well, it's always a joy to work with children. Of course, you have to adjust to their level. You have to keep them interested at all times. Use gesture, music, and stories to really captivate their attention. But the children are spontaneous and they respond well, and it's amazing how much they register from what you say, even when they don't appear to be attentive, yet they are really marked. Especially sometimes they are, a general impression may last lifelong.
The importance of praying the Rosary is that every day you pray to God and pray for the sick ones, or anyone anyone that's bad or something.
This event is important to introduce the children to the value of the Rosary as a prayer. It's a prayer that is very popular in the church, very traditional prayer. And it's a prayer that really has passed from generation to generation. So it's important to introduce it to this present generation of children. It's a prayer of meditation where we repeat over and over the prayer of the Hail Mary. But while we do that, we focus our minds on the mysteries of the life of Jesus. So it's a way to grow in the understanding of Jesus and of his mystery.
Well, the annual Rosary rally there earlier this week at St. James Cathedral. Nice to see so many kids there.
Yeah, great to get them involved. I remember my grandparents used to do it every evening. They'd say the Rosary together, and they'd babysit me a lot. It was nice. It was sort of one of those evening rituals that they always had.
Yeah, and of course the point of this is to make sure that that doesn't kind of fall by the wayside.
Right, yeah, well, if you start them young.
That's right. Bring them up
They'll
that way.
keep going until they're old.
Right.
Well, we have much more currents ahead, including news about a relic of one of the church's earliest saints making its first trip to the United States. We have that and the rest of the day's headlines when we come back, so please stay with us.
Straight ahead, we hit the road with some retired priests.
Welcome back to Currents. I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. Coming up, our Natalia Ortiz tries her hand at a new sport.
Yeah, she gives it a whirl.
Yeah. Little play on words, I like.
But first, let's have a look at the day's headlines. Food is more than a need, it is a right. We have those words from Pope Benedict as he marked World Food Day today. World Food Day is aimed at raising awareness of hunger, malnutrition, and poverty in the world. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization says 1 in 6 people worldwide suffer from chronic hunger. The majority of those are in Asia and the Pacific. Well, as Respect Life Month continues, a Spanish bishop says abortion is a true ecological disaster and will turn Europe into a continent of death. Bishop Demetrio Fernandez of Tarazona, Spain, made the comments in a pastoral letter supporting the March for Life this weekend in Madrid. The bishop said since the legalization of abortion, 50 million children have not been born. He says that's left Europe with a population that is prematurely aging and dying of sadness and despair. At the Vatican, while the Synod of Bishops from Africa is underway, another important gathering took place to focus on one of the African continent's most serious and deadly problems, AIDS. We'll get details now from Rome Reports.
At a conference in Rome about the global fight against HIV/AIDS, one very important demographic took center stage: children. It was organized by the U.S. Embassy to the Holy See and Caritas Internationalis to promote the effectiveness of partnerships between NGOs and governmental institutions intending to children infected with HIV/AIDS and tuberculosis all over the world.
The more that we can engage in those partnerships, the more that we can engage the local communities for a more effective distribution of our resources, the more we are able to achieve the noble goal of prevention and treatment of HIV/AIDS with respect to children.
U.S. Ambassador Miguel Diaz was among the panelists at the conference. He spoke about the importance of the partnership between the U.S. and the Church in dealing with the complex reality of the HIV/AIDS epidemic.
The U.S. government it's the world's largest provider of aid, and the Church, in turn, is the world's greatest distributor of aid to populations in all parts of the world, and sometimes to populations that are in the farthest reaches, areas of the world.
Leslie Ann Knight, the Secretary General of Caritas Internationalis, was also present and said that saving lives on the AIDS front was about individual lives and not statistics. About 80% of people treated for AIDS live in Africa, and about 15% of new HIV victims are children. More than 2 million children are infected with HIV.
Well, as a relic of the newly canonized St. Damien continues a tour of the American mainland on the way to Hawaii, there's another saintly relic touring the U.S. Reports say a French priest has brought a relic of St. Mary Magdalene to tour the States. The relics are usually stored in the Dominican Republic. St. Mary Magdalene is recorded as the first witness of the resurrection. In this year for priests, it's easy to forget sometimes those priests who aren't active in parishes anymore. But a lot of them are active, and a group known as the Kathy and Chris Lawler Foundation for Senior Priests was set up to offer them fellowship and a little fun. We found out what that means when we joined them on a field trip yesterday that included mass, lunch, and a tour of the aircraft carrier Intrepid.
Well, welcome aboard the USS Intrepid, National Historic Landmark. We're on a floating historic landmark. Someone actually did ask me that today.
Today is part of an ongoing venture where we try and get the senior priests of the diocese from a social standpoint to go out and spend some time together.
We're here on the USS Intrepid to honor the retired priests of the Brooklyn Diocese, to honor their service.
And they installed a new catapult.
I've been privileged to take some of the retired priests from the Diocese of Brooklyn on a tour of a ship that I served on for 2 years, and it's a complete honor for me to do this.
My wife Kathy worked for the Diocese of Brooklyn and worked directly with the senior priest in Douglas and Queens. And when she and my son passed away in 2001, we decided to establish a foundation, and our sole purpose is to aid senior retired priests in the Diocese of Brooklyn.
I think they're enjoying themselves, and hopefully we'll do it again.
We had a wonderful experience thanks to the Lawler family. We saw the history of the Intrepid, how many sailors put their lives on the line and went to war because they were called to do so.
Clergy, both the priests in Brooklyn and elsewhere, do the same thing. And so I think there's a definite correlation in giving your life to a worthy cause.
But we'll have more on their trip and the poignant memories it evoked next month on Veterans Day. And the Bible in 140 characters or less? Well, not quite, but the new Twitter Bible does keep it short and sweet. It features the 31,000 verse Bible distilled down into nearly 4,000 short tweets. The book's formal name is, I love this, And God Decided to Chill. Reports say the German language book is a compilation of tweets from more than 3,000 German Christians. The Twitter Bible is being released at the Frankfurt Book Fair this week.
So what do? You go get the book and then you tweet like a verse every day or
Well,
something?
I think what it is it was Germans were asked to tweet on Scripture, and they took part in this, and so they did that, and those tweets have now been compiled into a book, which is featuring those tweets.
Bible. Yeah, I got you. But it's not necessarily from start to finish the Bible.
Right. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to leave some things.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot of tweeting.
Right. That's a lot of tweeting. But 31,000 verses, some odd in the Bible, and about 4,000 tweets. So that's kind of what it boils down to.
I like it. Catholics are getting so hip and chilling,
as
I guess what it is.
And God decided to chill. Love it.
All right, stay with us. We'll have more currents just ahead.
When we come back, a man with a mission talks about it.
Everybody has the opportunity to pray, and that is perhaps the most important thing that we can do.
Welcome back. Well, it is no secret that everybody is being hit hard by these hard times, and that includes not just churches and charities, but also those who do some of the most demanding and often sometimes dangerous work. They're missionaries.
Well, this Sunday is World Mission Sunday, and to get a better sense of what missionaries do and the needs that really have to be met, I spoke yesterday with Father Terrence Mulkerin. He is with the Pontifical Mission Society, serving in the Brooklyn Diocese. We are joined now by Father Mulkerin. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Well,
sir.
thanks for the invitation to be here.
Well, we really appreciate you taking some time for us to talk about World Mission Sunday, and it is coming up this Sunday, as a matter of fact.
18th.
And what is World Mission Sunday for folks who might not be familiar?
World Mission Sunday is an opportunity for us to focus on the work of the missions. And my title is Director for the Pontifical Mission Societies. And those societies are, number one, the Society of St. Peter the Apostle, which educates priests, seminarians, catechists in the developing world. Also, the Holy Childhood Association, which provides services of education and health for children in the developing world, in the mission territories.
Right.
And then the Society for the Propagation of the Faith, which is basically a Vatican organization, and monies that are collected throughout the world are sent to Rome, and they are then distributed to the dioceses in the areas that have the most need.
Okay, great.
Basically, we're asked on Mission Sunday to focus on what we can do to help the missions. Of course, everybody has the opportunity to pray, and that is perhaps the most important thing that we can do. There are some who have the opportunity to actually go to the missions.
Right.
Like, for example, people go with the Jesuit lay missionaries to various parts of the world. And then, of course, it's a time for us to get some finances collected to sustain the work of the missions.
Right. Now, that being said, of course, the need is always there for people to give to missions, to missions across the world. Do you think it's even more so now, given the state of the economy?
I should say yes, that in especially in the third world, there are people who just can't make it anymore.
Right. Just not such a good time, anyway. For
no. And what we support, of course, are hospitals, schools, orphanages, parishes. One of the letters that I got from a missionary said that his diocese is 67,000 square kilometers, and he works with Maasai people who are 10 flocks and so forth. And it's just very difficult to get transportation from one area to the other, to find a place where education could be given and worship could be held.
Right. So you touched on it there for just a moment. Where does the money go when folks maybe on this World Mission Sunday, when they give, where exactly does the money go?
It will come into our office, and then we send it on to the National Office for the Propagation of the Faith, and they send it to Rome.
Okay, very good. And then Rome will send it out to the different dioceses that
now,
need the money.
Last year in Brooklyn, we collected $2.75 million.
Oh, wow.
And we are like the fifth largest component of the mission.
Right, well, very good.
Effort.
Well, that's very encouraging that so much money from the Brooklyn Diocese goes to that. Now, where are the missions today most active? Where are we seeing the most resources being used and the most resources being needed?
I have to answer that in two parts. That one is, let's say, for Brooklyn. For us, we are very active in Haiti, in Africa, in India. Other dioceses are more active in Latin America, for example, or other parts of Africa than we are. We are even getting some requests from former Soviet Eastern Europe. And I lived 5.5 years behind the Iron Curtain in Poland, so I'm quite sympathetic to that, and I know the needs that they have.
Right. It's interesting that you say, that the Brooklyn Diocese is particularly involved in Haiti, because so many of the parishioners in Brooklyn come from Haiti and other parts surrounding.
Yes.
So sending money back to the land where they came from.
Yes.
It was a very important thing.
It is.
Well, what do you think is the significance? Now, of course, probably one of the most well-known missionaries, Father Damien, now Saint Damien, was just canonized this week. What's the significance there for you that 1 week later is World Mission Sunday?
For me, the significance is that everybody has to give their best effort for the missions. Now, not everybody is going to give up their lives to a firing squad or catch Hansen's disease, but every one of us has the possibility of helping the missions, making sacrifices for the missions, and as I said before, even going for a short time to see what the missionaries actually do and encouraging them.
Okay. Well,
and when they come to our parishes, to say a word of encouragement to them for what they're doing for the church.
Okay. Well, just a quick second here. What can people do if they want to find out some more information? Is there a phone number or a website maybe that they can go to?
Well, they can go to the Pontifical Mission Society's USA, which is the website of the national office, or they can call us here at the Diocesan Office Building at 718-965-7326.
All right. Well, Father, that's all the time we have, but we'll post more information on our website about it, and we'll link people over to you guys so they
Thank
can
you very
help
much.
out. Thank you so much, Father. We appreciate
thanks.
your time. Thank you. Well, Father Terrence Mulkerin there, and as I said during the interview, to mark World Mission Sunday, parishes will actually be giving or taking up a special collection for the missions.
Very good. Yeah, it's remarkable that, like you noted in your interview with him, that we have certain places that we tend to go from here in Brooklyn, Haiti being one of them. I think he said parts of Africa and that kind of thing, assumingly because the demographics of Brooklyn reflect, where they're going.
Right.
I remember my mom wanted to be a missionary, and she ended up being a doctor instead, and then she's gone on missions sort of anyway since then to places like Honduras and Haiti and also to Africa. There seems to be a need there. It's wonderful the work that people are able to do, and they're giving their time and trying to help out, especially with the poverty and the kids. And
of course. And now too, I mean, with the natural disasters that we've seen, we've talked about that obviously extensively over the past couple of weeks in the South Pacific and, other regions of Southern Asia, that the need is there right now especially.
Yeah, so try to give a little more next week. Yep. Well, stay tuned. There is much more currents straight ahead.
Coming up, meet Brooklyn's 95-year-old baton-twirling queen.
Well, finally tonight, we want to introduce you to a woman who has a special affection for a sport you might not see on ESPN. She loves it so much, she's eager to pass the baton on to the next generation. Literally.
Ba-dum-bum. The sport is baton twirling. See, now you get what I was referring to earlier. Yeah. Very funny. She's giving children lessons that involve more than just twirling, though, and that just may last a whole lifetime. To find out more, our Natalia Ortiz decided to give it a whirl and a twirl at Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Sunset Park.
What if the odds are shorter?
What other sport involves singing? Well, baton twirling is not your typical sport, and the founder of the last twirling group in Brooklyn is not your typical 95-year-old either.
I'm Dorothy Klein-Orlowski. I'm known as Colonel Klein through the years.
Dorothy Klein started this baton twirling group in 1976. She got her start practicing a similar activity many years ago.
Just graduated, getting into high school, and I signed up for the Cadet Corps right then. It was an outlet. There wasn't, as I said, that much to do for young people, young ladies at that time.
She then sponsored her own Cadet Corps for about 3 decades before its popularity diminished.
She disbanded her group, and we knew that she was in charge of children's programs, and she didn't even know how to twirl at all. So we went up to her, my 3 friends and I, and we asked if she could start a twirling program, and she said sure.
And some 30 years later, thanks to Dorothy Klein, children in Sunset Park, Brooklyn are still twirling. Why is this an important project to continue?
I think it's important to get the children off the street.
And twirlers have their own take on its benefits.
It's good for my hand-eye coordination, and it's good to make new friends.
I think it's really good exercise, and I love to compete in the competitions, and it's really fun to learn how to do all these new tricks and everything.
So I asked Bianca Canada to show me one.
All right, Bianca, let's go. What are you going to show me?
This is a trick. You have to put this here.
Okay.
Left, your arms down, go and let it roll. And then you would toss it up and try to close it.
Ooh, I did it!
But tricks aside, the sport proved to be a bit more challenging for us beginners.
Okay. This is a little bit more dangerous than I thought.
But for the more experienced twirlers, this isn't just a matter of having fun.
Why take away from your busy schedule as a teenager to come here and spend it with little girls?
Well, I've been doing it since I was 3, and I love it. It's just like something in me. I have to do it, and I like teaching the girls. I like seeing them progress as like I did. It just makes me smile.
These girls seem to have inherited their service-minded attitude from the person who started it all. Dorothy Klein seems to have an effect on people that's contagious.
It's very nice to be in the twirling. It's very inspiring to Dorothy, especially because she's a very good leader.
In spite of her age, it's the gratification Klein receives which keeps her from passing the baton to someone else.
I have so many people that have come up to me and said that I have helped them in the years, that I feel very good.
Those girls are so cute.
Oh yeah, so much fun. And talk about inspiring. Dorothy, 95 years old and still going.
She looks terrific. She has a great spirit. Again, I love it. You know, the wisdom that you see just through the eyes and through the spirit of that. I mean, 30 years she did that. That's a long time, a lot of dedication. It's nice to see it being revived a little bit.
And passed along to new generations, and the girls here seem to be really getting into it. Natalia was getting into it too, so there you go.
Well, it requires a lot of coordination. It's sort of like cheering, sort of like, what's that other thing people do?
Color guard.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So gymnastics, you know.
Yeah.
It's sort of it's kind of
athletic,
but it's also kind of a showpiece. So it's nice, it's fun. We like it. Well, that is all for this edition of Currents. Remember, you can always watch us online at currentsny.net, and you can follow us on our Facebook page too. I'm constantly updating that with all new videos and everything, so just go to facebook.com/currentsny. So for tonight, I'm Francesca Maxime.
And I'm Matt McClure. For all of us here at Currents, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend. Good night.